And welcome to Muddy River News This Week. I'm Bob Goff. Brianna Rivera is the new executive director for the district, Quincy's downtown organization, and she's our guest. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Got you fresh off the starting blocks. You just started like about 10 days ago.
Yeah, you caught me quick.
Yeah.
Had a good time of the year too. So.
Well, not only that, you're also preparing for your first annual meeting as the executive director. That's coming up next week.
Yes, and I shouldn't take any of the credit. My assistant director and the board of the district, they have been knee deep in so I'm pretty much just being presented and helping out. They're going to tell me what to do. But yeah, we do have our annual meeting next Wednesday, and actually ticket sales, I think we're booked all the way up to the top, which is great. Might have some overflow, but that's great news for us. The theme is Pulse in Progress, and I think I'll have some like light hors d'oeuvres at 5, and everything starts at 6. But I'm excited for it. I don't think I have to do much, so that's a good start.
No, you got enough on your plate just to getting the organization, kind of up and going with your perspective and your fingerprint. Like you said, your assistant Jamie Trader and your board and everybody's, kind of kept things going as they've made the transition. I know that you, of course, your uncle Bruce Guthrie was the director at one time, and then you had done some internships there in the past. But what really made you want to take over this position?
Man, that's a long history there. Well, he started, I think he had about an 8-year run, maybe close to 8-10 years. I don't even think he knew how many years he was there. But I had started, actually, way back when, volunteering with my uncle. So he would just round up the family members and say, hey, get your butts downtown. And I think serving the community with my family is what started the passion for it. I've always loved downtown. And the small businesses that occupy the district. I think they're extremely special. And so it started there, and then I was able to intern in his office because I was like, man, I love this so much, and he gets to be, in it every single day.
Sure. And
I wanted to see what that was like. And for a couple summers there, when I would come back home from school, I would help him out with just, whatever he told me to do.
Sure. That's what an intern does.
That's what an intern does. And I really did love it. Getting everything prepared for events and then being able to see it through to the event was really something special because it takes a lot. It takes a community to put something on like Blues in the District. And it was great to see it from point A to point Z day of. And I was like, man, I would love to do this job. Like, I really would. And, every time, like when he left, I was in my senior year at ASU. So I was like, oh, of course. But then, of course, when the opportunity came up again, it was really difficult to not at least look into it and say, okay, would this be a good fit for me? And hey, look where we are now.
The acronym ASU is Arizona State University, for those of you who don't know. That's okay.
I'm sure there's Alabama State.
Arkansas State. There you go.
Arizona State. Go Devils. It's much warmer over there right now. All of my in-laws are out there, and they're enjoying 50-degree weather. So.
Again, talking about Bruce Guthrie, he's now the head of the Chamber of Commerce. One of the things we talked about briefly off camera was, I think one of the positives that you're stepping into is the fact that you have, obviously you already have a previous relationship with Bruce, but also just the fact that the district, the GREDF, the Chamber, all seem to have a much more collegial relationship now. In the past, I know this is going back years, there were sort of these silos where, hey, my organization's doing this and my organization's doing this and don't tell me what my organization's going to do. It seems like now you've got a much better platform that you're working on now in order to sort of move things forward.
Yeah, well, and I say it all the time, together is better for the city of Quincy. So seeing those 3 large organizations being able to help each other with resources, and like I told you too, we meet every month and say, okay, what does the district have coming up? What is the chamber doing in the next coming month? And how can we help each other with that? Or maybe we have a business that would benefit being in the chamber, or things like that. So it's been a really great time. Working with my uncle, not so much. No, just kidding. No, but all three organizations are extremely professional and have great relationships, and I think that really helps each of the entities. And so when you do come to the chamber or you come to the district, we're able to say, hey, have you checked out Grediff or the chamber? It's awesome.
But the one benefit that you have that they don't have is you have sort of a dedicated funding stream now at the SSA.
Sure.
That it didn't used to be the case. I mean, you've always had the SSA money, but they also sold the memberships on top of it. But then when they made the move with the city to sort of bring everybody into the district, that really allowed you, your predecessor, and has allowed you to, and your staff to focus more on the task at hand. You don't have to be out there, raising the membership dollars like, the chamber still does and like Grediff still does. But you're able to go out there and just say, look, we've got this funding stream that we can go and we can accomplish what we need to do. And you kind of have a good idea of what that's always going to be just based on the tax revenue, property tax revenues and things like that.
Yeah,
so.
and what's great about it too is the district gift certificate program last year, I think, brought in over $17,000 to local businesses. So so it's great to be able to offer things like that, to just completely go into downtown businesses, So, but yeah, it's a wonderful. That's definitely a positive for us.
So when if you haven't, I mean, you only have the job 10 days, I'll give you a break. But, eventually you're going to be popping into stores and saying, hey, hi, how's it going? What do you need?
When it's not -10. Or,
yeah, exactly, right? I don't blame you there.
Maybe post-annual meeting.
So it's not to really go into, hey, what are they saying to you? Because you haven't had that much time. But one of the projects that you and a lot of the businesses are going to have to, we're going to see the fruits of it soon, but we're going to have to work around the 6th Street renovation for about a year.
Yes.
And I know the meetings have already started to talk about that. And again, since it's right outside our door, we're very excited about it too here because of the possibilities. And, we can maybe do some live things out there and just all kinds of cool things we can come up with content-wise.
Oh, yeah.
But again, for the next month or for the next year or so, we're going to have some torn up streets and parking's going to be an issue. So you're going to have to kind of deal with that. But again, the 6th Street project, all in all, is something that's really going to be a benefit.
It's going to be fabulous now that we're starting on, and yes, we actually just had a meeting about that. And so the businesses, luckily, most if not all of them have other entrances, but it'll be, something on our part to say, okay, let's get some social media going and saying, hey, these businesses are still open.
Right.
Here's a graphic of where you can go, things that you can do. So I think that'll really help them out. But in the long run, like you said, that's going to be instrumental to the district, is having that space there.
And also as part of that, I know, there are a couple of businesses I know are kind of waiting for this all to happen before they, are able to open their doors. But again, you've got so much potential with that space there all the way up to basically Vermont. As far as organizing and getting that as well as the things on the square, what kind of, do you have any vision of any other future programs you might be looking at to I know, like you mentioned blues earlier, and I know there's other things going on, but what other sort of things you think are available or could be made available to kind of generate buzz?
Well, we just started our Winter's Farmers Market. That started, we've had one because of the weather.
Sure.
We had to cancel the last weeks. But that has generated a lot of foot traffic in those businesses off of 6th Street. And luckily, we've had really great feedback from businesses saying, hey, people that are going to this winter farmers market, not only is it helping the farmers, but it's helping those businesses during the winter, which, most people are not walking around in, the middle of January. So that's obviously new. We're looking at having a spring bloom market in March, so kind of a mirror to Christkindl, but in the springtime. That is brand new, so we're just hitting the boots, on the ground running with that one. And the same committee that works on Christkindl is doing that. But really this year, we are trying to focus on what is the goal of the organization, the bread and butter, which is volunteering. Building back up the volunteer base is going to be huge. Building up that community is going to be huge. So I think we're a little cautious throwing new events and new things into downtown until we get the community up. And my overall goal too is to redevelop our diplomat program, which was a real benefit real benefit to the executive director and the assistant director to have them. So, so those are a couple of the new events that are happening, and which are soon. And of course, bringing back the pub crawl, which was a great success last year. So, but hopefully, yeah, with that new development on 6th Street, we can have a bunch of new opportunities. So maybe this is just a development year for us, getting people used to the district again, getting people back into downtown, making sure they continue to go back downtown and saying, hey, if I love the Blues so much, why don't I volunteer?
Right.
If I love Chris Kindle so much, why don't I contact that Brianna gal and say, what can I do? And that's really what we're going to focus on this year. So.
And I know that as long with the new things that are coming on 6th Street, I know there's always going to be churn. There's always going to be, we've got Revelry, which is now we're waiting to see what's going to happen with that. But that's such a great space that I think it's going to be really, really attractive to somebody. Are you kind of going to plan on at some point getting involved in those kinds of discussions on what can go where and looking at new possibilities and for vacant spaces and things?
Well, and I think this kind of goes back to our great relationship with Greta in the Chamber, who actively pull in businesses to downtown and all sorts of places around Quincy. I'm right now, as we're kind of focusing on the annual meeting, we're kind of just giving the updates about those. But I know those property owners are already hard at work getting people in there, and I know are having some conversations. So I know, I think those business spaces will get filled. Revelry was such an awesome spot. So it'd be lovely to have somebody come in there and get it back on. So, but yeah, I know we'll always be in the know. So I think it's just going to be a matter of time.
And I know that the guys that are working on the cider house, and I know that's part of with Quincy Brewing and all that, and then you got the tap room, what's going to happen with that. So again, you've got all these great spaces that I really think that once the 6th Street work is done and people see how great it is, I think that's really going to serve as a catalyst to the people who might have been sitting on the fence to decide on what project they're going to do next, is to go, oh, okay, let's go ahead and get our thing going.
And if you think about it too, the events that we host, so the Farmers Market's a big one, Chris Kendall's a big one, the Spring Bloom Market. We have all of these businesses that are just always a part of our little events like that. And at some point they're going to want brick and mortar shops and everything. Well, they're going to want to do it in the district at that point, while we're helping. Yeah. So I think that's a really great advantage to us, is to having things like that, because those businesses are in the district, they see what we can do. And they'll look at all these shops, they'll look at that new renovation on 6th Street and go, we want to get ourselves in there. Or we can push them and say, hey, if you're looking for some place to go, we can do that. So I think we have a real benefit there with the farmers markets and Chris Kindle, and even this upcoming Spring Bloom Market too.
You spent some time on the Quincy City Council, and then you stepped off in order to take this job. Do you think that that experience is going to be beneficial, especially when you have to work with your former colleagues on the council?
Yes. I really think it does. Now I really know how an alderman thinks, whether people agree with it or not. I know what they have to look at. I know what they have to think about in order to make decisions with the city. So that's always a big help. And I really do have some great respect for those that are on the council, and I hope they know that, because it's not an easy job day in and day out to be on city council, to be on view every Monday night. And the respect that I have for them is great, and they know me very well too. They'll know I'll talk to them, and I think that'll be a great connection for the district and the city of Quincy. And hopefully they'll be comfortable coming to me with any questions they have. And I hope to meet with all of the ward aldermen to tell them about what's coming up in the district. So.
Well, yeah, I think that that relationship, obviously, the fact that you've already worked with those people before, and to say when you have to lobby them for a special project, it's gonna be like,
I have to say, come on, guys,
it's really good.
I won't try to get in anybody's bad books, but it definitely is, because it is true. I kind of know and understand how they have to think on a weekly basis, so it'll help. I think the district and the city having background in the both. So.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, getting ready for that annual meeting, everything, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the future. Best of luck this year.
I'd love to come back. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Thanks.
That's Brianna Rivera, the Executive Director for the district. I'm Bob Goff. We'll see you next week.